we mentioned how women make up about 20% of Congress. Let's take a look at the breakdown by party lines. There are 17 Democratic female senators and 5 Republican ones. And out of the 83 women from 34 states who serve in the House of Representatives, 61 are Democrats and 22 are Republicans. Many of the women running for office this year are Democrats, but they're not the only ones seeing a surge in candidates. Conservatives are too. I sat down with Andrea Bozek from the conservative group Winning for Women and asked what it's doing to change that.
We want to make sure that there is that sort of support network out there because not all women are Democrats. There are a lot of women in this country that lean more right of center. And so we want to promote those women candidates and promote women that might have those ideological beliefs and encourage them to run for office.
A lot of the momentum of the so-called pink wave that we've been seeing is coming from the Democratic side. Do you think Republicans are doing enough to kind of capitalize on that energy?
I think we can always do more, and that's part of the reason, we started this organization. But yeah, I believe that we have fantastic women candidates that are out there, whether it's Martha McSally, the first female woman fighter pilot, what an inspiration to women, not only in Arizona, but across the country. She's been breaking barriers her entire life. We have Marsha Blackburn running in Tennessee for Senate, and she, got her start in the political process. She was, before she got involved in politics, was selling educational books door to door. So we're hoping that by promoting these types of unique candidates, that other women will step up and come to the table.
And we should point out you're doing work for both those candidates.
Yes.
Let me ask you about the notion of what it means to be a conservative now. Has that definition changed? Is it changing?
I don't know if it's changing. I think, conservative means that you want to see less Washington involved in your personal life. And that's, and more economic security, more financial security. That's what it means to me. And I think a lot of our women candidates would answer that maybe a little differently. But I think by and large, that's what it means to us.
So how does that sort of evolving definition of conservatism affect how potential female candidates particularly make that decision about whether or not to enter politics?
Yeah, I think, a lot of the times the decision for women to run has more to do with personal concerns. The travel, obviously, winning a primary is sometimes difficult. So especially, if you have other maybe, male candidates that are more conservative than the woman candidate might be. So our goal is to support them in that primary process because there's really no organization right now that does support Republican women and does endorsements in the primary. And so that's where we're really looking to make a difference.
So let me ask you more about that. What are some specific challenges that Republican women face in those primary situations?
Yeah, it's mostly a resource game. Not only, do we have to make sure that women run for political office, but even more importantly, we need to make sure they win because we need them in Washington, D.C. And so winning a campaign, you have to make sure that, first of all, the candidate understands this is going to be a rigorous process. This is not easy being a candidate for federal office. And so ensuring that they have the resources to get their message out is really first and foremost, and in the primary, because that's when we've seen a lot of women lose both on both sides of political parties are in the primary process because they don't have that necessarily financial support. And so that's where we're looking to really make a difference, not only with our fundraising and our donors, but also with our grassroots or digital army.
Have you seen an increase in the number of conservative women who are interested in running for office for the first time?
Absolutely, I think so. And I think they're coming from, different types of backgrounds, and not only do these women want to run for political office, but they want to, I feel like, be engaged more on the donor level, on the digital grassroots side. And I think that's one of the great things about, digital engagement and social media is that we can have these women that might not have necessarily had a place to go to support right of center women candidates, and they can reach out to our organization.
Is there one overarching reason that these women give for wanting to get involved?
No, I think that's sometimes the mistake that a lot of people make is that women are sort of, in a silo and all believe one thing and, are a consistent voting bloc. As you've seen throughout your career, a lot of women have a lot of different perspectives, a lot of backgrounds, and a lot of thoughts on a lot of different issues. And so we just want to make sure that people who have, right of center or Republican leaning, ideology, that they have a place to go to support other women candidates that share that.
So to what do you attribute this increased interest on the part of conservative women?
I think it's a frustration that, in Washington, that we keep electing the same type of candidate and expecting different results, and that's silly. And so I think they're frustrated. They've been frustrated with the last, 8 years in Washington. That's nothing's getting done. And, as women, we like to get things done. We like to accomplish things. And even if it has to be done through compromise, I think we're always willing to do that. And so I think these women want to step up to the plate and make sure that things get done.
So what would be a measure of success? How will you know when you have actually achieved your goals?
Yeah, we have a long way to go. And that's not just a Republican statement, but that's also for Democrat women as well. We only have currently 19% of Congress is made up of women. And so this is going to be, we want to make sure that we're the foundation of a growing movement. And, I think we've heard a lot about the Year of the Woman. We don't want it to just be a year. We want it to be a lasting movement and momentum to make sure that we're always growing the number of participation with right of center women candidates.
Andrea, thanks very much.
Thanks so much for having us.